Good morning, guys. How y'all doing? I figured that I'd do a Kender stream this morning. I'm in a fairly good mood. I'm feeling good. I'm moving. I don't know about what we did yesterday when we streamed the Tower of Doom thing. If I'm gonna stream, I'm gonna put it on Twitch. Okay, I ain't doing that shit again. It looked like shit. I'm glad I didn't spend too much time on it. You could see a little bit of it when I played on the fighter, but the rest of it, the first 20 minutes of it is complete garbage. I don't know. But anyway, we won't worry about it. That was a different day, whatever. Okay. The rest of the stream was good. So I'm gonna stick to that format and we'll be all right. Third episode, you get into your groove. This would be the fourth one, I guess. Okay. Fourth time's a charm. All right. I got a whole bunch of shit to show you this morning. All right. Now I don't know what this bullshit is about wotc Wizards of the Coast wanting to get rid of half races now or change the wording on it. Well, if that's the case, that means Tanis is screwed. Poor Tanis. Poor Tanis. You know what they're gonna do now? I'm gonna make me a meme. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a meme here. Right here. Right here. Okay. That big old rock hitting him, it's gonna have the big WOTC logo. Okay, right there, crunk. There goes Tanis Half Elven, and they carried him out of the temple. Okay, that's what happened. Done hit the dragon. Done hit the dragon with the damn staff. That comic book was really cool. It really was. Yeah, this is mine. I own this. Yep. This one was done by Roy Thomas and Thomas Yates. Oh shit, they worked on a ton of shit for DC and Marvel. Oh fuck. I'm trying to think of something else. Conan. I want to say probably Prince Valiant. They were a bunch of shit. So did this one. This had a little bit different art in it too. But the first two were actually done. These two right here. These were done by the same people. The third one here. This is the one that caught my imagination. This is the one that I took into Walden Books and told the clerk, what do you got in the book section about this? And they took me to the back wall and showed me. But yeah, this is the one that originally stirred my imagination. The art in this one. This one, out of all of them, in my opinion. Now, I do like the art in this one, although I will say that Raceland in this one looks a little bit like David Carradine. He does. I don't know why. David Carradine probably could have pulled it off when he was alive. His name was passed around back in the late 90s when, the damn DragonLance forms. My God, they've been talking about that shit for as long as the damn DragonLance has been a thing. Who would be cast in a fucking movie? They wanted to cast Eric Stoltz as Tanis, and I'm pretty sure he'd probably seen a script somewhere down the line. I bet you if you asked him. Never got Back to the Future, but shit, they could have made a DragonLance movie. Shit. Another reality, I guess. I'm sorry. The Taz in that picture, he looks a little bit... with the nose, he looks a little bit like Ringo Starr. That was just weird. Which is kind of funny because what's really funny, I discovered the Sergeant Pepper album around about the same time that I started reading these comic books. So you can think in the sixth grade, that's a weird damn dichotomy, especially as much dope smoking was going on in that. But I didn't smoke any dope until I turned about 25. In all honesty, as a kid, I didn't. Yeah, I always make everything in my personal touch. You can tell that this was owned by a 14-year-old. This was an old insert that come out of damn Easy Riders. I took laminate. It's been there for about 25 years. I put it in the back of that. It's mine. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. It's 14-year-old me. Raceland again. All right. Yeah, we're going to talk about Kender. I got a whole bunch of shit on Kender that I can cover. I put some stuff on Twitter last night, some stuff that I'm working on concerning how Tasselhoff got his name. I don't know about you, but in my games, we had it explained years ago, but I'll explain it to you now. And if anybody's watching or listening to this, hint, hint, you're more than welcome to take this idea and use it for later materials. Okay. My stuff that I come up with, I mostly relinquish it to public domain. I don't make a friggin' dime off of this. I like to show the stuff that I've bought over 30 years. I'm pretty sure you recognize this. This is the Dungeons and Dragons basic set. Come out about 95. It's got all the basic stuff in it. It's kind of like the rule cyclopedia. It's got the same illustrations in it. But so it's just a smaller version, but it's got some of the same illustrations that Rule Cyclopedia has in it. And it was just a basic D&D set. This one confused me even more, okay, because I didn't fully understand Advanced Dungeons and Dragons when I was 14. So they had like 3 different versions, and it just confused the living hell out of me. Original Dungeons and Dragons and even AD&D, that's just it. Everybody wants to play it like a fucking video game. They're always looking at their stats and saying, okay, well, I've got +2 to this and +5 to this and +2 to this and shit. Okay. Believe it or not, if your DM's any good, he will calculate that shit for you. That's why he has a DM screen. The DM takes care of your modifiers. Now, yeah, you got to trust in your DM, but I don't really give a shit. Okay. I will trust in my DM. You tell the DM what action you want to make, and he will tell you what you need to roll to do it. Okay, or what needs to happen to do it. That's how Dungeons and Dragons is supposed to work. Okay, not this thing where you go through a character build. That stuff is okay if you're making a video game. Okay, in Fallout to Survive, you have a character build. To an extent, in stuff like Eye of the Beholder, you had to build a character for your stats. Okay, that is because, yeah, the basis of the video game is it's on a build. Free D&D is not. Your DM does most of that shit up here in his head. So let's put it this way. In your advantage, if my DM is about 3 beers in, well into his 3rd beer, if he misses a modifier that makes the roll come out in my favor, okay, and keeps me from getting killed, who the fuck am I to complain? Seriously. So there you go. But most of the time, say original D&D, you didn't have the 2-hit number, okay, or the THACO. Now they did eventually gradually develop it for basic D&D too, and it was used in basic D&D, okay. But okay, originally your DM was the one who gave you the armor class. He determined the hit points of the monster. That's why he had a hit die. He rolled that behind his screen. You didn't know none of that, so the players didn't go, well, well, I should have been able to one-shot him. You don't know that. The DM will fucking tell you whether or not you one-shotted a character. He'll tell you whether he runs off. He'll tell you whether about his morale. The DM does that, not you as a player, okay? If you're in a play it as it lays session, okay, that's one of those sessions where you don't do a 12-page backstory. You can draw numbers out of a pile, whatever. But if that DM, he'll hand you a piece of paper and he'll say, okay, you play a Dwarven Cleric or you play an Elven Thief. And you play that son of a bitch to the bone. Okay, that's a play it as it lays session. And you develop your character as you play. Okay, that's by the seat of your pants. That's how well do you know your character class to be able to play and work as a part of a team in your group. Okay, that's hardcore D&D. None of this shit of a 13-page backstory, da-da-da-da. No. You fit yourself into the DM's campaign and into their world. Okay. So if I'm at a campaign, it don't matter what I know about DragonLance, what I know about Kender. If I'm in a DragonLance campaign and I'm at a DM's table, it don't mean shit of what I know. Okay. I have to fit myself into his campaign. Okay. So if he says that Kenders can only mate with other Kender, that's exactly right. Now I believe that too. Okay. They were created by the Grey Gem. They can only mate with other Kender. All right. Simple as that. Now, there are variations on Kender. Okay. They're Ancelonian Kender, they're Island Kender, and they all have different looks and archetypes based on their location. Okay. Um, in my Dragonlance game, okay, Kryn is a huge fucking planet. There are other islands. In ours, one of the Dragon Isles, we decided to go ahead and put it like Karatur. So everything is Eastern in flavor. So you've also got Kender in that area of the world that look Asian. Okay, and they wear, the dress and all, and they have their own little customs and shit. Okay, their dwarves look like that. Their elves look like that. There's nothing wrong with that. This forced diversity, it's kind of hackneyed and it don't look right. But you can still include that in a fantasy setting and it be completely natural and organic and it'll fit. Okay? There's nothing wrong with having Asian or black Kender. Pez is black. Okay? Pez Thoroughfoot. You'll hear about Pez later. Pez or Paz, whatever you want to call him, but he's a funny little bastard. He's got a gold bridge and he's strong. He's tough, Kender. He can ride, swim, climb, just about anything. I'll tell you about him later. But there's several different types of Kender, okay? And then there's Astrid Damaris. That was Trap Springer and Damaris's daughter. That's somebody that I came up with in one of the games. You'll hear about her, okay? There's all kinds of stuff that you can do with Kender. Now, you don't have to play a Kender as the bubbly Taz archetype. I hated it when they used to take and play Tasselhoff as this bubbly, foolish goofball. Taz is smart. Taz is not stupid by any means. In Kindermore, he is an extremely intelligent guy. In Legends, he's got quite a bit of intelligence because one, he has to babysit Caraman's big dumb drunk ass. He's remarkable. Okay, we often see through Taz's eyes. Now, yeah, he is willing to play the fool sometimes. You have to admit. Oh, and about that, okay, I thought of something, and I'll see if I can pull it up here. Matter of fact, I'll show you my Twitter feed. If you can manage to pull it up, now it's 18 and up. You've been warned. I mostly get on Twitter to look at boobs. Hey, it's my Playboy. I don't really care. But I grew up reading Easy Riders. I didn't read Playboy. I grew up reading Easy Riders. Ooh, boobs. Okay, no, we're not going to show any boobs on here. I do not want to get kicked off. But what we are going to show is my Twitter feed. No, I don't have any boobs on my Twitter feed. Okay. All righty, guys. Here we go. All right. All right. Here we go. This is a long thread. Now you can get on Twitter and read it, but I'll go ahead and read you out my basic explanation here. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. It's probably washed out. You probably can't see shit. Let me see if I can. Come on, go away. Okay, you might be able to see it now. Okay, sort of. I don't know if you can. Might be able to cover the camera, but I doubt it. If I hold it a certain, yeah, you can see it if I hold it a certain way, okay? But I've got a Twitter feed. You're not going to be able to see much of it, so I'm not going to even attempt that bullshit. I don't even know if I could grab the camera and hold it down in front of me. I've started doing that, and I've noticed that you can usually see whatever the hell I'm looking at if I do it, but, okay. Well, shit, it won't do me any good to do that either. You can't see it. It's too washed out. I'd have to lower the contrast on the camera, and I ain't going to do that. I'm not gonna do this bullshit of fucking with the camera like I did yesterday. I know some of y'all get motion sick with that shit and you get tired of that, so I'm not gonna do that to you. All right, Josiah, get to the point. Okay, Kender. All right. In my game, Kender have a certain way with their naming traditions. When they're born, they're given a name, and if they don't like it, they choose their own. Surname will often be the Kender who preceded their parents. Hence, Taz's grandfather's name would have been Burfoot and his name that he chose. So it would be Burfoot, Leafdew, Burfoot, Starkweather, something like that. Okay. Whoever his grandfather's name was. So Taz's granddaddy's name in my game, his name was Burfoot. Okay. Burfoot, Starkweather, Leafdew, something like that. Whatever. Okay. And then I give examples. There's like Burfoot Tin Whistle, Burfoot Trap Springer. Okay. His Uncle Trap Springer was named Trap Springer Burfoot, but he called him Uncle Trap Springer. So I figured this out. Okay, just bear with me. All right. There's variations on that. It's Burfoot Tin Whistle, Burfoot Trap Springer Furfoot. Okay, which wasn't a Kender name used. Okay. All of these are usual variations of ancestral lineage. Kind of like how the Japanese, when they do their names, it's like they'll give the last name or the clan name first and then their name. Okay. How the Japanese announce their traditional clan name first and then their name. Damaris Metwinger. Damaris Metwinger was the bride that Tasselhoff was supposed to marry in Kindermore, that they hired the bounty hunter to nab his ass in Solus and drag him all the way back to Kindermore to marry. Okay. They had enough money to hire a bounty hunter. Okay. Think about that for a minute. But anyways, her name was Damaris Metwinger. Now, Damaris in this one, I give her a Northern Urgothian accent. Most Norgothians, Northern Urgoth people in my game talk with German accents. Okay. They just do. All right. But anyway, her mother's name was Damaris Metwinger. I don't call her Damaris. I call her Damaris. Damaris Metwinger and Trapspringer Burfoot, who was Taz's uncle Trapspringer. They went to the moon. Well, they came back from the moon. In my game, they made it back from the moon. Okay. So their daughter is named Astrid Damaris Trapspringer. Okay. That'll be one of my characters. You'll hear about her later. Okay. Now, Tasselhoff was of the Stoke clan. Now, this is actually in the canon. This was listed in the original bio for Tasselhoff in the Dragons of Mystery DL5. Read it. It's also listed, I believe, in the DragonLance box set. But anyways, he was of the Stoke clan and may have been given the Kalen name initially at birth by the Kindermore Council. Now, the reason for this is to identify him with whatever paternal grandfather he had. In my game, highborn Kenders are usually Kender that have a family lineage going back more than 300 or 400 years, so it's usually considered important. But due to the nature of Kender, it's very hard to keep track of them. So sometimes when they're born on their birth certificate, they'll usually put a paternal grandfather's name, knowing full well that Kender throughout his life will change his name eventually himself. Okay. That's just the way that they are. Okay. And basically in my game, like I said, Tasselhoff is of the Stoke clan, and he may have been given the Callan name initially at birth by the Kindermore Council to identify him with what paternal grandfather he had. Knowing most Kinders changers select their first name as a rite of passage as soon as they're able to say it. Okay. In Tasselhoff's case, to that end, my explanation has always been in game terms. Tasselhoff chose his own name, as Kender are free spirited to do. The origin in mind, humans in Urgoth, and this is based on the new tales, okay, that he was the only little Kender that was wearing a top knot. Now the humans that had seen it were drunk, and they were Northern Urgothian, so they didn't really speak common, but they said Tasselhoff, seeing his tail looked like a horse's ass, or basically it's a horse tail. This means horse tail, but it could be the pun or the joke is horse's ass. But anyways, in the Kinder's eyes, he saw the humans, they were laughing, they were joking, but my explanation has always been in game terms, Tasselhoff chose his own name as a Kender. And humans in Urgoth had not seen a top knot on a Kender that small. He hears a human laugh. Tasselhoff. It's a cheer, But the Kender sees it and he goes, hey, they're laughing. Now, my scenario, a young child Tasselhoff is with his father in a market square. At the time, his dad can't stand the name Kalen. The Kindermore Council put on his son's certificate, and he tells his son to find a name that makes people around him smile, that makes people happy. And he asks him, says, well, if Kalen's a stupid name, what do you want to be called? And a jeering human sees him in the top knot and says, Tassel, Hop. Well, now think of the significance here, okay? The drunk human saw the Kinder child and went, Tassel, Hoff. But in the young Kinder's mind, it wasn't an insult. He took the jest and made it part of him. Taz plays the fool for the sake of knowing he's not. We see that through Taz's eyes often, okay? We laugh, okay? We laugh with Taz all the time, okay? So as a young Kinder, and I wrote it as, it's my name, Dad, the little Kinder squeaked. Kalen isn't my name. Burfoot looked at his son. Tasselhoff? The elder Kinder grinned, as another drunken female bellowed emphatically in her Gothian. Tasselhoff! Flipping her own hair at him and laughing and smiling at a Kinder. And I put that little picture of Taz and Fizman out of the comic book. The question is, what do we do now? And then I put, nobody human on this continent had laughed or smiled at a Kinder's presence in this region in a long time. Yet here were humans laughing and having a good time, and apparently not being cruel and hateful or mean to his boy, at least not as far as Burfoot could see. Tasselhoff Burfoot it is. My son has found a name. That's the way I explained it in my game, okay? If his name was not Kalen, as it was described in the box set, that's how I explained how he got his name as Tasselhoff. And he chose his name at a very young age. He told his dad, my name is Tasselhoff. Even if it was meant as a slight or as an insult by the drunk humans, who the Northern Argothians had never seen a Kinder with a top knot, Taz turned it around. He owns that shit. That's why Taz is so resilient, even in the books, okay? Even when they're laughing at Taz and they make fun of Taz and they give Taz a lot of shit, Taz comes out on top, okay? That's why Taz is important to DragonLance. We see through Taz's eyes. You understand? Okay? That's why Kender are so important. Kender are often misunderstood, and that's really a bad thing to do. Granted, they were introduced because D&D was having the problem of being able to license hobbits, okay? So they had to have their own halflings. That's where the Kender came in. By 3.5, they had completely turned the halflings to Kender, okay? They just didn't call them Kender. But in Dragonlance, they are Kender. Now, let me get some Kender material here. We're going to try to roll up some Kender character. We're going to roll up a Kender character. We're going to talk about some Kenders. I'm going to try to find as much Kender shit as I can dig up, okay? You'll be absolutely sick of Kender by the time we're done with this stream. We're 23 minutes in, so we're going to see whatever the hell I can dig out of my butt to talk about concerning Kender. We'll talk about weapons. I'll read you some of the stuff from the supplements I've got, and we'll even go to the battle map and we'll see if we can't roll us up a Kender. We'll do the AD&D way of doing it. How's that? You're going to laugh more than you think today. I promise, okay? Talk about books. Talk about comic books. Talk about video games. We'll do all that fun shit. Kender are my interest, okay? Always have been. They're clever little shits. And they're not kids. I mean, they look like kids, but they're not kids, okay? Any Kender maid of breeding age is old enough to be your grandmother. These human players that like want to date a Kender or have a half Kender, there are no half Kender. You cannot mate with a Kender, okay? Any Kender maid of breeding age would be old enough to be your player, human player's grandmother, okay? It's not going to happen. And trust me, Any little friggin' pedo try to go into a Kender settlement and fuck with a Kender, they'll tie him up naked and leave him for the owlbears. They will beat the living shit out of him. They will shove a hoopack up his ass. You ain't gonna be messing with no Kender. Trust me. Ain't gonna be fooling no Kender booty. They don't fool Kender. They don't screw humans. They root with other Kender. When they settle down, they go in the rooting stage. And actually, they don't really root until they get a lot older. Seems to be the older they get, Kender, according to Kender, more the hornier they get. So, who knows? Dumple Trap Springer and Damaris buddies, they're horny little buggers in this book. They are. Taz is almost asexual. He doesn't really, they never really had him getting a girlfriend or anything or having a romance. I mean, they mentioned him maybe once or twice of walking out with like a kindermaid or something, but they've never really made any references to Taz being sexual in any context. You know, he's not. He's a gentleman. Such things a gentleman does not discuss in some terms. He just happens to be of that particular sort. That's Taz. He's very polite about it. One time you'll have kids or whatever go, "Hey, Taz," at a D&D table, if you're sitting at a D&D table and they go, "Well, hey, Taz, you ever try to bang Lorana?" And me being Taz, would answer, "Well, bang Lorana? I don't think so." Tika would sometimes like bang on a door to bang pots to wake Cameron up loud. Bang, 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 bang. Oh, you're talking about right? No. She's married to Tanis. She's married. She's old enough to be your grandmother. No, I don't think so. And that's how I would handle it. If I was in character as Taz. Now, bang Lorana, no. Now, Tika used to bang Cameron pots to wake him up when he was drunk, get him to when he fall asleep or pass out. Bang, 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 bang. You bang on the door to wake up. She'd do that sometimes, bang a pot over his head. Little things like that. But you learn to roll with your players. You learn to have a little bit of finesse. But Kender are funny little bastards. They are. Let's see here. I already told you about the Kender pack, which is basically Limbus bread in the Dragonlance setting. Humans, if you try to eat too much of it, you will get constipated. That's a hell of a game mechanic. And as a matter of fact, the funniest fucking game mechanic I ever heard of. Bunch of Kenders got captured by a bunch of humans, right? And they were running out of food. One of them posed the idea to trick their human captors into eating some Kender pack. You can eat a little bit of it, but too much of it will make you constipated. Well, sure enough, they tricked the human guards into eating it, and the guard couldn't shit, and so they made their escape. Kender pack on a constipated guard. I would give that son of a bitch a level up for coming up with that idea at a gaming table. Kender pack. It's a bread. It's described in Mists of Kryn. I'll get it out here in just a second. All right, let's roll this sucker around and go to the gaming table. I'm going to load my bowl up. We're going to have a wake and bake. From now on, I'm not going to smoke on stream, but if you hear a bubbling, that's what it is. For courteous, I know a lot of y'all don't do that, so I'm not going to do that on stream. I do wake and bake, but like I said, as a courtesy to my neighbor. All right, we'll go ahead and flip this around the battle map. I was going to try something real quick with Curse of Strahd just to see if it would do it. I don't know if it will or not. I don't know. Can you see my screen? Yes, you can, but I don't know if I want to do that. I'm not going to do that. We ain't going to do that. I am going to do a Ravenloft game segment. I'll post it eventually. I got to get the audio for it. I'll compile it together. I'm going to put some pictures with it. I always get some pictures out of my archive and do the video, do the little J-graph and thing and put my shit on the end of it. I like to do those videos. The gaming videos, you know, I like to cut the gaming footage together and all that shit and edit it. I do like doing that. That was one of my first videos I ever did was a DragonLance video. And that's not going to change. I like doing those. I got all those fucking games now. I can get plenty of footage. I can play through them. I can go through them. I can make tutorials. Check out my DragonLance Heroes of the Lance DOS tutorial. I go through the first 30 minutes of the game. I tell some of the stuff. I get to the part where they're at the waterfall. The camera cut out on me then, but it's pretty good. I was a little stoned, but it shows you how the game works. It's pretty good. I haven't done Dragons of Flame yet. I'm going to get on and do Dragons of Flame. I did Dragon Strike. I actually completed the first mission in Dragon Strike and hadn't played it for God knows how long, but I got acclimated to it and managed to make it through the first mission after making it through the demo. So I did that one. I did some Shadow Sorcerer. I put that one on there, so check that out as well. Okay, we're going to go to the gaming map here. I'm going to pull some shit up here, and we're going to get ready here, all right? I don't have my Dragon Orb set up. I'm going to set up my Dragon Orb when it breaks, so it'll pulse there, and you can get up and get you a drink of water. Okay, we're going to take a short respite here. Get up, get you a drink of water, use the bathroom, and come right back. Stay tuned, folks. It's going to be a great show. All right. There we go. For just a second. Do 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 do. All right, let's see if anybody's here. All right, let's post a little message in chat. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I'll do it anyway for posterity's sake. I don't give a shit. We're going to roll with it, y'all. I don't really want to play any music. Still got this infusion still having to work its way through, so I'm still a little bit wobbly. Yeah, check out my Twitter meme, my famous Tasselhoff, only thing missing but the Minotaurs bullshit meme. It's my favorite meme. It's my Twitter meme. It's the first one I ever made when I got on Twitter. It was the first fucking thing I did with it. I told a wotc employee with it. Actually, I don't fuck with wotc. I don't troll them. I don't say nasty shit on their Twitter. I don't harass people. That's harassment. I don't do that. However, I will tell these motherfuckers where I stand when it comes to my DragonLance. I'm serious about my DragonLance, y'all. You understand? I've lived and breathed it for 25 years. It has been my salvation. It has been part of me. Now, with that said, like some people are into wrestling and all that other shit. Well, I'm into DragonLance. I'll tell you my DragonLance up and down, in and out, and all the way in between. I am all about the DragonLance. Okay? Watch him shake his little lance. Watch him do a little dance. He's a Burfoot through and through. He's a hero of the lance. How you like that? Watch him shake his little lance and do a little dance. He's a Burfoot through and through. He's a hero of the lance. Well, watch him shake his little ass. Watch him do his little dance. He's a Burfoot through and through. He's a hero of the lance. When he shakes his Kender ass and he does a little dance, He's barefoot through. He's a hero of the lance. I like to get a little dance, like the little dancing baby. Remember that shit back in the early 2000s? The little dancing baby meme. Well, I'd like to get one with the little Kender on it. He dance around, little Kender. Watch him shake his little ass. Watch him do a little dance. He's a barefoot through and through. He's a hero of the land. Tanis Half is 40 fucking years old when he meets the companions, okay? He's a teenager, but technically he's 40 years old in human years, okay? Any Kender maid is old enough to be your grandma, okay? Any Kender maid of breeding age is old enough to be your grandmother. You're not going to date one. First, they get pissed off at you for saying that you can't be that you can't intermarry with one. Okay, yeah, I know. You say, well, you're getting pissed off about half of them not including half elves, and then you say Kender can't mate with other species. Well, they can't. They're created from a gray gem. Birds cannot mate with horses. Okay, Kender are a species. They were created. Well, they're kissing cousins to gnomes. They were created from gnomes and ogres and humans. Or excuse me, they were created from dwarves, ogres, and humans, which became Kender, gully dwarves, and gnomes. Okay, the Greystone. The Gray Gem. Yeah. The race that somebody ever wrote how did I word? I'll tell you here in a minute. I worded it. I got it. Let me get my Kender shit here. I got a whole bunch of shit here to talk about. Okay. We're going to go with the Monstrous Compendium on Kender. We got the DragonLance Adventures stats on Kender. Okay. I'm going to set this shit up so you can actually see it. Okay. I got a whole bunch of shit here. Okay. What is this? This is part of a map of Northern Urgoth. That's good to point out. I'll point that out for you. Okay, the floating tomb or the floating citadel. That was the flying citadel, which they don't really cover in the Dragonlance book at all. In the comic books, I didn't see it. I don't know. They're already in Ice Wall. They defeat Filth fast, and then they skipped over it. It's in the models, it wasn't in the book. Okay. They did like a poem or some shit. All right. What we're looking for, we're looking for. What are we looking for? We're looking for, aha. I know what we're looking for. Do. All right, let me get my come sit on my lap. Sit at the learning tree. Okay. There we go, guys. This is comfortable, ain't it? You come sit on our engine's lap. No, I don't want to be creepy. Only ladies of age. Thank you, please. At least 21 years of age, please. Or better. 35 is great. I like a MILF. I like a mature lady. Especially with a bush. Okay, let me find the fucking... All right, here we go. We got all kinds of shit here, man. Okay, damn it. Wait a minute. I have to cycle it through here again. We'll get it. Hold on just a second. I know I'm making you sick by friggin' moving that camera around all the damn time. Let me find it, and then I'll... Here, so I don't make you sick. I know you get sick from looking at my ugly ass fucking face. Smart ass. Whatever. Smart ass in chat. Whatever. Hey, I'm not meant to be pretty. And I'm not an angel. There's no toilet seat over my head. There's no halo hanging over my head, and if it was, it'd be a toilet seat. I get them Freudian slips where I'll say shit backwards. Somebody will piss me off. Somebody will piss me off and I'll say something backwards. I get that fucking momentary brain shit where I want to kick their ass. And okay, we got a whole chapter on Kender. Now, I read this out actually on Twitch, and it's still in my Planescape stream, I do believe. I ported it to YouTube, but I'll go ahead and start it out here. We'll look at both of these. Okay. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay. All right. Let me just pick out a section here to read. Okay. All right. Well, screw it. I'll just start at the fucking beginning. Hell. Okay. It is said that the origin of Kender can be traced to gnomes who were altered by the power of a Kryn artifact known as the Grey Stone of Gargath. And since that ancient occurrence, during the Age of Dreams, the Kender race has spread, infested, according to some, throughout Kryn. The most familiar trait shared by all of these diminutive humanoids. I'm trying to get my camera to focus here, guys. Hold on a second. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'll just hold it. I'll keep it right there. Maybe you might be able to see it if I just keep it still. Okay. I'm hoping that you can see that. Maybe. All right. The most familiar trait shared by all of these diminutive humanoids is that of curiosity, and only the most basic instincts for survival are stronger. This inborn inquisitiveness is perhaps the greatest reason most Kender have uncanny talents for reaching into the folds of a robe or picking a lock. For the only thing Kender love more than a good mystery is solving that mystery. A locked chest must obviously have some fascinating object within, and the same holds true for an adventurer's bulky backpack. Thus, while most non-Kender tend to view the race as thieves, it is more true that Kender merely are fascinated by new things, and their natural talents are used not to rob possessions from others, but rather to borrow them for closer examination at a later time. The societies of Kryn, unfortunately for the Kender, tend not to follow the same philosophy, and so Kender are often shunned by other races, despite the fact that they hold no prejudices toward anyone. Quite the contrary, for Kender find the custom and habits of others to be quite fascinating. See, Kender are multicultural. They have multicultural friends. You will not find anybody that's more sociable than a Kender, okay? They're a social butterfly. They get along with just about anybody, okay? Kender rarely dwell permanently with other peoples, however. Okay. The few instances where they have can be traced to necessity on the part of others. One instance is recorded of a Kender village settled above mineral deposits, which attracted a wary and unenthusiastic group of dwarves to dwell there for a time. Now, Tasselhoff is, in a sense, somewhat significant because he hung out with other races. Okay. He is a cultural Kender. All right. You said it right here. All right. In some cases, this mostly talks about city Kender. That's what I mean. City Kender are more sheltered. Okay. What I consider to be highborn Kender in my game, they're the ones that are around the cities and the settlements that are more established as opposed to the nomadic Kender, which Taz is. Taz is a nomad. Okay. Because of the chaotic Kender lifestyle, many people have expressed amazement that the Kender race is able to survive at all. Sages have termed their apparently instinctive survival mechanism the Kender clock. This phenomenon seems to be shared by all members of a set community and triggers the inhabitants to act during the proper times for planting and harvesting, with each Kender somehow knowing his part in order that the job get done. It is this natural ability that causes the Kender to be so skilled with plants, although usually with crops that require little tending. They'd be excellent at growing weed. Weed doesn't take that much, other than the fact that it used to be illegal. It really does not take that much to be able to grow. Kender horticultural talents account for their only two exports, Dew Drink and Kender Pack. The former is a golden alcoholic beverage distilled from sundews, which inns and taverns sell for 5 steel per bottle. Now remember, Kryn does not use gold. Gold is worthless on Kryn. Okay. Now Pez actually has a gold bit or a bridge where he got his teeth knocked out, right? It's made out of gold. But see, gold is used, but it's not used as money on Kryn. It's mostly worthless. They sell shit for steel. The Kender pack, the latter, is a highly concentrated and nutritious sweetbread, which merchants sell for an average of 4 times the cost of a week's normal rations. One loaf, which retains its freshness for up to 2 months, is equal to 2 weeks' rations and weighs no more than 3 pounds. In both cases, the Kender who provided either the drink or the bread likely received nothing more than a few trinkets or seeds in barter from the purchaser, for Kender are notoriously poor businessmen. Nomadic Kender travel in bands, not usually exceeding 50 souls. So it's been known sometimes they'll travel in a party. Their caravans typically include a number of hand carts filled with most prized possessions, odds, ends, goats, ponies. They bring the whole crew along. Generally, these sorts of Kender spend a portion of the year in one place, harvesting wild crops. Then they move off again in search of adventure. They're kind of like deadheads, really, in that respect. Of nomadic Kender, 5% may be considered to have the skills of true barbarians. Okay? 5%. So, Pez and Taz, of that 5%. Okay? They are significant in their makeup. In all Kender society, the family unit is of prime importance. Kinderlings stay with their families until they're around age 20. Okay? Age 20. Now, Kinderlings, most Kender, when they're babies, when they're born, at about 3 years of age in a human age, they are already up and walking and talking. They mature quick. But they usually only reach maturity at around about 20. Okay. Taz was in his 40s. So actually, he was grown Kender when he met up. Well, he was sort of a teen. He was a young Kender. He's still young, but still, he was in his 40s when he met up with the companions. Around 20. This time, a Kender is usually struck with wanderlust. He departs from the family to seek his own roads of adventure. So Taz was probably out running around for about 10 to 15 years before he even met Tanis. You realize that? Before he met Tanis and Flynn, he was out running around for several years. He departs from the family to seek his own roads of adventure. This portion of a Kender's life continues till about the age of 50 or 60. This is the age at which a Kender enters his last stage, that of rooting. Hit the Beastie Boys music, root down. I get my root down. There we go. This is not entirely an end of wandering for the Kender, but rather is a time for responsibility, a time to settle with another Kender and raise a Kenderling or two. So, hey, baby, you want to root? We root, baby. We're going to root. In Australian, when they talk about screwing, they say they root. Yep. They always used to make the joke about Australians being English rednecks. Hey, I like Australians. Aussies are all right, depending on where they're from. They like to root. They have a good root. So, yeah. Aussies are Kender in spirit. There they go. Yep. Each community of rooted Kender has holidays corresponding to local customs, religious festivals, and natural phenomena. One custom of interest is what is known as Kender meet. These are semi-scheduled events that take place at set spots between two villages in an area favored by Kender, peasant groves, or meadows. For example, anytime more than 2 Kender from neighboring communities come together here, the event is considered to be a Kender meet. Okay? So Taz meeting up with his buddy is having a Kender meet at a tavern. Okay? All right? The spot at which events with lots of Kenders is called a kindergarten. See? Kindergarten. Okay? One of the largest groups of rooted Kender reside in the city of Kindermore near the southern shores of the Blood Sea. It is not a typical city. The lack of commercial buildings is immediately apparent. And since it is mostly residential, Kindermore holds little of interest to non-Kender, although it is rumored that relics from the ruins occasionally turn up on a mantle. In connection with this, however, there is no record of anyone ever getting out of Kendermore with any true treasure. In fact, no records exist of anyone leaving the area with even their own treasure intact. That changed as soon as Uncle Trackspringer came back from the moon. Him and Damaris, his wife, they crashed a spelljamming ship into Kender Common, landed a huge one. They live in it now, and they built a museum around it. So they have a huge treasure trove. Yeah, Uncle Trackspringer come back from the moon, and he trails moon dust. In my game, he does. He sure as hell does. Read Kendermore, okay? But yeah, a kindergarten. Let me show you, okay? There's a map. All right, you got Kender, Northern Hollow. Now, there's two places, okay? There's Northern Urgoth, which was where they were originally from, which was Hollow. And then there's Balfour, which is, shit, okay? Because some people get the two places confused. There's Kinderholm, which is Northern Urgoth, which is Hollow. Kendermore in itself is located, let me see, let me pull this fucker up on a map here. Because, yeah, I got it confused too. If I am thinking correctly. Here we got the, hold on. Yeah, that Kender right there, that's so funny one time. Somebody seen that. It was like, is that a Taz or a Tina? Because that Kender's got a set of tits. Is that a Terra or a Tasselhoff? That looks like a Terra, because that Kender's got a set of tits on it. Is that a Terra or a Tasselhoff? That Kender's got a set of tits. See, those are female Kenders. Those look like female Kenders. Okay. Let me find the Kenders. Okay. Hold on a second here. Kender weapons. Look at all that. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Yep. Got it listed here. Kender live in quaint pastoral villages and towns constructed in the forest of Kryn. Perhaps this is so they can climb the trees, play tag among the boughs, or just laze in the shade. Their homes are a variety of incomplete structures: tree houses, terraced decks, spacious huts, snug little burrows, and tree hollows. All dwellings bend beautifully with their environment. Looking upon a Kender city, one sees only bountiful woodlands, winter squash, grape and raspberry vines, and blossoming fruit trees. So they're organic to an extent. They assimilate, they conserve. Okay, Kender are very. Kender would be very accustomed to being vegan and keto and all that shit, especially if it's interesting. They do the unusual diets of bugs and shit until it got boring. They do all kinds of the weird shit. Of course. Yep. The city gate is simply a passage between sentinel oaks where a footbridge spans a creek. Hedges and gullies form the city's defenses, and vines mask the porticoed buildings from view. Yep. The sedentary nature of aged Kender and young Kender allows Kender societies to crop up. You've either got very young Kender or very old Kender. So you can imagine what they're like in a city. You got young Kender and very old Kender. And then the Kender that can go out and run around, they, after wanderlust, Kender become rooted in the land, remaining in one place until death. So they settle down and they stay rooted. Yep. With little preparation, Kender nations can field a formidable army. Occasionally, the Kender will submit themselves to a ruler who seems interesting at the time. They have had kings, khans, warlords, councils, judges, and priest lords, many of which have not been Kender, and all of which fallen from power within a month's time. All right, history. All right, they talk about it in this one. Both sides agree that the Greystone, it transformed elves, not gnomes, but there's a lot of that says that gnomes and Kender are highly related. Okay. Now, they try to say that they're not like gnomes because they're not industrious and they do not tinker or invent. They have no beards. They cannot focus on tasks at hand. They are not stout and stocky. They do not dwell underground. They do not have rounded ears. Now, scholars who made these contrasts go on to say that Kender may share many traits with elves. They joyfully embrace life. They disregard work and time. They love woodlands and nature. They look for beauty in all things. Okay. And plus, they're highly close to the elves. However, say they still have debates on that. Okay. My view is Kenders are industrious little bastards. Okay. They are capable. In my games, if think about it, the way they were created, you ever notice that Taz got a lot more done when he time traveled because he hooked up with nymphs? That's where Raistlin killed him. They don't want gnomes and Kender getting together, okay, or at least putting two heads together. When you get gnomes and Kender together, crazy shit happens, okay? When they start working together, they get smart. In my games, the gnomes and the Kender eventually get smart, okay? They become rulers of Kryn, buddy. They will, all right? Because they're very, very smart, okay? They adapt. Gnomes and Kender. They will. Gnomes, Kender, and Gully Dwarves, okay? But they are Kryn's halflings. They are what are considered to be the halflings of Kryn. All righty here. Now, there are no evil Kender. Now, Taz was given a potion one time to make him evil in the novel The Companions by Tina Danielle. But that's not exactly canon. We do have a game mechanic with that as well. Okay. You don't see any Kender in Sigil. Now, there is actually a reason for this. Kender, because they're created by the Grey Gem. Okay. If you take a Kender into Sigil, it has very adverse effects on them. You have to get them out of there or they will die. Or, worst case scenario, they turn into something you don't want them to turn into. Taking a Kender into the negative planes, and some of them can affect the Kender adversely. It can turn them into something very bad. Okay. That's essentially what happened to the Kender that went into Sithicus. Lord Solf, he kept them there, and eventually they turned into vampires. Okay. And he experimented on them as well. But you can't really take a Kender into Sigil for very long. I figured a way around that. Fizman later on has to get Taz out of Sigil. He put this blue gem that comes off later, but he puts a blue gem in Taz's chest so he can go back and forth in through Sigil and not come apart. It's a really good, interesting game mechanic that we've got. But yeah, that's how Kender most of the time can't travel in Sigil because of that. Because if they leave Kryn or leave the Kryn space, it starts to affect them adversely. Okay, that's just a mechanic in my game, and I've used it for years. But I usually put a stop to them to trying to have Kender only in specific. Most of the time, some DMs only have Kender as an NPC race only, and they would only allow Kender under certain circumstances. They might allow Kender if the whole entire party was Kender. It depends. Kender have to be played a certain way. They honestly do. There's a certain way you can play a Kender. You can fuck up a party by playing a Kender wrong. You certainly can. You can annoy the shit out of people. There are some people who flat out say no fucking Kender in my game. But I like Kender. I love Kender. I'm all about the Kender. See, in my mind, that's what Astrid Damaris, that's what she looks like. She talks with she sounds like Zsa Zsa Gabor. She has a northern Ogothian accent. So she's slightly German sounding. And so she sounds like Zsa Zsa. Yeah, darling, I make you best Kinderpack. I'm still coming up with the character. Yep. And Pez. I wrote a little bit about Pez. Do I want to read the little thing that I wrote? Should I? I want to get some atmosphere of this. I thought about loading up Kingdom Come Deliverance and using the sound for the Yeah, what the fuck? I'll read some of it. Why not? Okay. All right, fine. Let me see if I've got it all together here. Okay. Oh, shit. Okay. Do, 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 do. Okay, tips upside down. Okay. Okay, I got it. I got it. I got it. See, because when I printed this out, I gotta remember what the hell I printed. Okay. All right, guys. This is a premiere. This is the beginning of a DragonLance module that I'm working on. Okay, I've been working on it for a while, but it starts out as a short story. I've termed it Everything But the Minotaurs. Okay. It kind of has a reference to a Taz meme that I made. Taz smells bullshit. Everything missing but the Minotaurs means bullshit. Rolls a d20 perception check and smells bullshit. That's what that's in reference to. Okay. I'm going to read you some of this. Okay. I didn't turn on the. I was going to do this for Kingdom Come Deliverance. I was going to run it and read it out. Of course, I may still do that on my Twitch stream later when I get it refined. So I'm just kind of getting my bearings here of how I read this out. Okay. Let me set you up for this. Okay. This is set after the War of the Lance. Okay. But before Dragons of Summer Flame. Technically, Dragons of Summer Flame never happened. Okay. Tasselhoff has made a visit to Kindermore or Northern Ergoth, one of the two. Okay, I'm still debating on that. I still got to pull up a map for that, don't I? We'll pull it up. But anyway, let me read this. Where he's at is Northern Ergoth, so it's somewhere around the bounce. Okay. All right, I'm gonna read this. Bear with me here because this character that I've conceived, this Island Kender, okay, is a character that I've pulled up. He's an old friend of Taz's. He's a Kender, but he's described as having dark skin. He looks like a Kender, but he's got shorter hair. Just bear with me, okay? I had actually many years ago, back about in the early 2000s, probably late 90s, had put up the prospect of having ethnic Kender in my games. And I was told then nobody wanted to touch that shit with a 10-foot pole. Even then. And I considered myself a progressive before all this fucking woke bullshit, before all the damn woke pandering and all. I considered myself to be progressive. I was a pretty progressive person. And then that shit just all went out the fucking window after the culture changed. The cancel culture came in and everything just went out the fucking window. Okay. I'm going to read to you my variation of a story. All right. Okay. Let me take a drink and because I'm a little parched here and I want to do this right. Okay. We're going to get geared up here because I'm going to read a DragonLance. I work a DragonLance here. I'm feeling a little lightheaded, so I guess I need to take a drink of something real quick and get my bearings and maybe take a swat here of some silly salad and get my courage up. Hold on just a second here, guys. Take a drink of tea here. That'll work. Hold on just a moment here, guys. Let me get prepared. Take you a bathroom break real quick, and we'll be right back. I want everybody to get here. Ooh, that looks good. Oh, okay. My mother fixed some breaded fish last night. It was absolutely impeccable. I love me some breaded fish. Before I ran the stream, I was going to have me an English breakfast. I'm sorry. I had to put a small something to get my blood sugar back up. So I apologize. I usually don't eat on stream. It's like a big no-no for me. I'm almost cooking. No, I'm bathed. I take a shower every day. Most of the time it's because I got out of the shower. So I'm not as nasty as you think. Now, no, I do spend a lot of time bathroom. And yeah, some of my teeth have fallen out since I first started YouTubing. Over the past 2 years, 2 of my teeth have fallen out. They cracked from pain. I busted them out from gritting my teeth. I've been through hell, guys. I'm not lying. I've been through absolute hell. So yeah, Pez losing his teeth. Okay, this character, it's kind of a little nod to that. You know, tough, tougher than hell, tougher than hell, man. I'm telling you, man. All right, we're gonna set this character up. And I think I'm gonna actually roll this character up to use. I just got to think of his stats here because his stats are a little bit different from Tasselhoff's. I got to think of when I make these Kender characters. My way of building a Kender character is that they have subclasses and they're fitted for specific jobs. Okay, so certain Kenders are good at certain shit. One is a map maker. One happens to make boats. One happens to be a sailor. One happens to he can swim underwater. One specializes in rock climbing. One might even be able to do base jumping or hang gliding. Who knows? Okay, one's a scientist. You know, Astrid Damaris works at a university. Now, that Kender scientist. That seems kind of weird, but you know, why not? I don't believe in keeping characters stupid. I don't believe in that. I believe that they can feasibly learn a skill or a craft or a trade feasibly within a game world. You can't do everything, okay? Granted, he's not going to be a fighter, thief, mage. Your character's not going to be able to do everything. The idea is you have an equal balance. So it's like choosing a team for Mission Impossible. They took one of each skill, okay? Your mission, should you decide to accept it. Think about this, guys. It's all tied to Paramount. Why do you think Paramount still holds the DragonLance thing, okay? I have another idea for another module I'm working on too. It's called the High Lord's Imposter. It's written similar to like the Dirty Dozen or Apocalypse Now. And the theme behind it is that they try to capture or kill a High Lord and replace him with an imposter. Yeah. It'd be kind of like Mission Impossible, but yeah. They replace him with an imposter, a High Lord, a Dragon High Lord. That'd be a cool module, wouldn't it? Okay, well, I wrote something out. I'll discuss that later. I've got some of it actually posted on Twitter. I got a whole bunch of ideas, man. Module ideas. All kinds of shit we've come up with. All right. Let me get ahead of this fucking silly salad before I do this. I got to have some balls to do this shit, man. I'll tell you now. It's going to take some balls to do this. Because this is me kind of fucking with the DragonLance cannon. I don't know. I mean, it really doesn't fuck with the cannon other than the fact that it's just an idea that I've been toying with. Got me some LA Koosh. All right. Yeah, what the hell? I don't care. I ghost my hits. Touch me not, match. Get a racing cough there. There we go. I got my wrestling thing going on now. Actually, I'm a gray robe, but there you go. I got my wrestling thing. All right, guys. This is a world debut. This is my short story, introduction, the passage. I don't know what I'm going to call it eventually. But this is called Everything But the Minotaurs. Everything missing but the Minotaurs. So if you say, I smell bullshit, everything missing but the Minotaurs. Okay. Tasselhoff reached in his pocket and pulled out a little box that held a small gold tooth or a bridge. I have it listed as being a tooth, but it's just a small little gold bridge. Fits in your mouth, covers your teeth. Okay. Oddly enough, for a Kender, he'd always kept this personal trinket for sentimental value. Kender lose things, so for one to keep something over an extended period of time, it has to be special because gold is worthless on Kryn as currency. This particular gold tooth belonged to a friend, another Kender. Of all Kenders he'd known throughout his life, Pez Thoroughfoot certainly was the oddest little member of his race that Rorix had ever rolled a grey gem over. And that's saying something compared to Taz. Tasselhoff naturally gets a little choked up, but he remembers his friend being described as Rorix's own prototype by a gnome from Nevermind. Taz chuckled to himself as he knew maybe that was stretching it a bit. Paz was sometimes a silver drawer short of a spoon, and not because he's run off with it being a Kender. Buppu, the Goldie Dwarf, could sometimes count better than Pez, but Taz didn't have a leg to stand on either, because Kender always embellished or exaggerated statistics just to make it sound interesting. Getting hiccups here. When I go to read, I do. Okay, so I'm describing this Kender that Taz knew named Pez. His name is Pez Thoroughfoot. Okay, he's an island Kender. Stocky. He's a little heavier than Taz. He's got bigger arms. Strength-wise, he would have a little bit higher strength stat than Tasselhoff would because Tasselhoff's an Anzalonian Kender. Pez is from the islands. Okay, Pez has got a little bit darker hair. He's a little stockier. Now, Pez don't do so well with maps, but he can fly shit. He can climb. He can base jump off of a damn canyon with a freaking parachute. He rode a red dragon down into a canyon and survived. The dragon didn't. It crashed into a tree. I'll tell you about that here in a minute. Okay. Pez is a tough little shit. Pezza is absolutely hilarious. Okay. All right. But he's a tough little bastard. You'll like Pez. I guarantee you. All right. All right. Tasselhoff naturally gets a little choked up, but remembers his friend as being described as Rorix's own prototype. I got that idea about that phrase, God's own prototype, from that Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas movie. Yeah, that's where I got that phrase from. But anyways, all right. The two Kender, I'll set the scene up for you. The two Kender are standing in a bar. It's a roadside tent tavern at early morning. Little Kenders, and they're standing up on benches, sipping ales out of dinner tankers. There's a bunch of drunks around them, okay? Everybody's pissed drunk. The place smells like wood smoke and shit. Human shit. And I mean, it smells horrible. And there's like flies and shit. And it's early morning, so the dew and the heat and shit, and so everything's getting warm. But they're sitting up in the middle of the morning, and there's a breeze and shit that comes in, so it's late summer. And they're sitting there drinking ales. And they're getting drunk in the morning, okay? All right. Got to remember, okay, Pez talks funny. All right, he does. He talks funny. You'll just have to. The voice that I had in my mind, I thought of. Remember the guy? Remember the black fella in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Okay, the one who is his buddy. He finds out he's an alien and he takes him with him. Okay, the one that had the ring at the beginning of the movie. Oh, I thought of that guy could do the voice. Okay, if I was really thinking him or maybe Tricky. Tricky, who was in the Fifth Element. Tricky was he was a musician. He was with shit. Did a thing with Massive Attack, I think. I don't remember. Or had a thing called Christian Sands. I'm a Christian and Christian Sands, but he was a black guy. He I don't know if he was in Lock Stock, but he's an English black guy. He's got a scratchy voice. You know what I was talking about if you're English. Okay, Tricky. Well, anyway, he's a black guy. He was in the Fifth Element. The dude who tried to take Bruce Willis's place. Well, that voice. Okay. Well, anyway, Pez kind of has that voice. All right. Well, anyways, just think of that in your brain. Okay. He's a smaller Kender. He's very stout, stocky, got arms on him, got hair like fine wool, but he's black. Black Kender. He's an island Kender, but he's a Kender. He's got pointed ears. Okay. That's fine. It's where he's from. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Now, just bear fucking with me, motherfucker. Okay. I despise SJW pandering. I despise the fucking bullshit, wotc fucking sparkle troll, inclusivity, gender pronoun bullshit. Okay. This is coming from me. Okay. I'm not a racist in any capacity. Okay. I listen to way too much fucking black influenced shit to be racist in any capacity. And if they want to pretend I'm a fucking racist, go ahead. Okay? You can also pretend I won't crack their fucking head open if they think they can do something because they think I'm racist. Okay? I'm not. All right? I give everybody the equal 2%. Some people are equally worthless. And if you're going to be prejudiced, hate everybody. I don't. I can get along with just about anybody. Give them your 2%. Okay. Enough bullshitting. I'm sorry. All right. I've set the scene for you. All right. This is Pez speaking. I tell you, Taz, we be right, me ba. And when he says something, he'll say it like me ba, like me brah, you know, because like in South Africa, they'll say me brah. Well, he'll go me ba. Me ba just means me friend. Okay. My friend, buddy, pal, me ba. That's what he says. Me ba. He constantly says that. Okay. I tell you, Taz, we be right, me ba. Sure as they scales on a dragon's hide. I seen that wizard turn himself into a bee just so he could light up on the privy there out back to get himself a look at Widow Dobbin's moon. Calling her ass a moon. Paz stopped and pushed on his gold bridge. His tooth. He's got a gold tooth that he uses. And he uses it because 98% of the time he uses it to chew. They use their teeth for everything, the island Kender do. You know, when he's fishing, doing whatever, you know, his fishing line, he uses his teeth for literally every fucking thing. Okay. When he makes stuff with his hands, he uses teeth. Okay. They're tough like that. Native Americans, they've got long teeth roots for that. I got long roots. See, my teeth are very tough, of course. I don't use my teeth for shit. But anyways, okay. Paz stopped and pushed on his gold bridge and winked. He wasn't shy of displaying his bridge, other than replace the tooth he had lost while riding a red dragon who, unconscious and wounded, plunged 1,000 feet into a canyon and crashed into a tree, killing the dragon, but Pez somehow survived. Minus, I was missing me tooth. Pezzy needs me tooth to chew in it, but them gnomes at Mount Nevermind, they made me tooth again shine like the scales of old Flame Strike herself. Naturally, gold had no value on Kryn, other than things besides currency. Nobody was going to stick their fingers in this Kender's mouth and steal it off him. I'd bite your finger off if you try me, by. Of course, Paz would actually take it out. He'd take his bridge out and dump it into a bewildered person's hand often, even if they didn't necessarily ask to see it. Tasselhoff regaled a dwarf named Glade that Tanis and Flint knew that would pop a fake glass eye out of his head and handle it to people just to watch their reaction. And then it continues. wonder if this is Taz. I wonder if he changed himself back. I heard Grumman the dwarf yell and smack a wasp that he said stung him in the privy the other day. Hey, that wizard's been gone a couple of days. Taz rubbed his little chin thoughtfully. Now, Grumman the dwarf is an asshole. You'll meet him here in just a minute. Okay, he's the local constable. He's a real prick. He's a dwarf. He's evil, and he is an extreme asshole. But he hates Kender, despises Kender. But his name's Grumman. Okay, all right. So Taz says, I wonder if he changed himself back. I heard Grumman the dwarf yell and smack a wasp that he said stung him in the privy the other day. Now, see, they're saying that somebody had used a ring and Paul himself into a bee to look at somebody taking a shit, okay? Some weirdo looking at some lady trying to see her privates, okay? Being weird, okay? He was being a peeping Tom, all right? He goes, I wonder if he changed himself back. I heard Grumman the dwarf yell and smack a wasp that he said stung him in the privy the other day. Hey, that wizard's been gone a couple of days. Tasselhoff rubbed his little chin thoughtfully. What if Grumman accidentally snuffed him? That's terrible. Unfortunate and terrible. In fact, I wonder if that magic ring he had, that he angrily accused us of trying to steal, which we absolutely did not when we borrowed his hatchet. I'm assuming he's talking about Grumman's hatchet, okay? And we borrowed his hatchet. They said that he stole his hatchet, so obviously the Kender took his hatchet at some point in this story. He said, we borrowed his hatchet so we could get firewood to make dinner and dry out our clothes from trying to get this mean dog to catch ducks. Okay, Paz and Taz have been out previously duck hunting. There's a whole joke about a bird dog. They bought a dog from some guy and said it was a bird dog they're going to catch ducks. Well, them being Kender figured out they were going to build a catapult and figured they weren't throwing that poor dog high up enough to catch the duck. That poor dog. That poor dog. Well, they happened to come back with the dog. The dog's fine, obviously. But he talks about the dog. They're in the bar. They're all soggy. He said, we borrowed his hatchet so we could get firewood to make dinner and dry out our clothes from trying to get this mean dog to catch ducks. Tasselhoff continued. At the foot of the bench, a rather belligerent and worn hunting dog of interminable breed barked and snuffled at the Kender indignantly before settling back to gnawing on a piece of grizzled bone thrown out from the bar to keep it quiet. I don't think we were throwing the dog up high enough to catch the ducks, Pez. Tasselhoff looked rather sheepishly at the dog and knelt down to pet it while balancing on the bench, only to be viciously growled and barked at until he backed off. Ale sloshed from his tanker as he balanced like an acrobat, possibly inebriated. Obviously inebriated. He's drunk. Taz smoothed his top knot after taking another gulp of his ale. Then Pez goes, we could have loaded the gully dwarf in the sling and maybe shot him high enough to grab the ducks. But if he misses that duck, he might get mad and bite us worse than the dog will. He don't want to wear the parachute we made him neither. He rolled himself right up in it and went to sleep. Pez yawned as he glanced toward a small mass covered in thick, dirty patchwork sheet, snoring under the bench loud enough for people to realize it wasn't a dog. It was their sleeping gully dwarf companion, Fooge. Fooge has a very limited role in this story, except to eat, shit, and sleep. Ugh, my nose is itching. It sure is terrible, ties me by. Paz clucked his tongue sorrowfully and rubbed his own head. Unlike Anceloni and Kender, Paz had the ears, but not the top knot. Now, this is where I talk about Pez, okay? Pez, P-E-Z, Pez or Paz. Pez, Paz, Thoroughfoot, okay? Pezza is what he calls himself as a nickname, Pezza. Pezza needs me too, okay? I'm assuming he's probably got a semi-quasi English accent of some determinable sort. but he would be slightly indigenous, African, possibly, South African, maybe. Paz had the ears, but not the top knot. His hair was short, black, and curly like a fine wool. He was termed an Island Kender, although among other races who despised Kender anyway, it meant little other than his skin was a little darker than Tasselhoff's, and Taz had somewhat the benefit of a formal, remember we are talking Kender here, education, with his parents studying the plainsmen in his youth and learning how to read and write maps. Pez had his own set of skills, so much that Taz found it complemented his own skills when the two adventured together. Paz was from an island not far from Talinus. He could ride, fly, swim, and climb just about anything and had a pretty good margin of survival, either to dumb Kender luck or he really was that talented. They often call him Paz or Pez or Pest, depending on the Kender or humans he was around. Paz had a distinct accent, which put his pronunciation of words and descriptions at a whole new level. So he called the lady's ass a moon. Half the time you don't know what the fuck he's talking about. But he's a Kender. He's all over the place. I'm developing this accent, but he's getting there. Okay. All right. Yeah, Paz had a distinct accent, which put his pronunciations of words and descriptions at a whole new level. Some were lucky enough to even comprehend what he said, as Paz, like all Kender, tends to be all over the place. It was at a roadside tent tavern in southern Urgolf, or was it north? You know, it's got to be somewhere around there, okay? No matter, it was maybe a few years after the War of the Lance. Paz himself is a war vet, okay? He was in a unit that was there in Naraka during the War of the Lance. He was not with Taz, but he was a Kender, okay? He was in an infantry. He saw a lot of people get killed, okay? Paz is not a stranger to war, okay? He was a foot soldier. As a matter of fact, you know, he saw some friends die during the War of the Lance. He saw an entire platoon get taken out by a dragon. Okay, so he's a tough little bugger. He's a war vet. He's one of Taz's friends, but he was in the War of the Lance, but he was stationed with a different company, and so he's been through the wars. Him and Taz are pretty much exchanging war stories at this point. Okay. It's at a roadside tent tavern, and it doesn't really matter where it was. It was after the War of the Lance. And where I say here, as to where the bar is, it's not important so much as what it's called. The Butt and Balls. It's a roadside tent. It's a tent tavern. It's a tent, basically. Think of Kingdom Come Deliverance, some of those tents in those camps. Okay. I was going to use that as that atmospheric background. If I get to read this again on Twitch, I'll do that. Okay. The Butt and Balls, aptly named for the rough-hewn, non-sanded, split wood benches on which the customers could lean against the bar. The problem, however, risking painful splinters in your backside, forcing most people to stand. The two Kender had the advantage of being so small they could stand up on the benches, putting their heads just enough above the bar to talk to the bartender. A lot of Kender's problem is that they're so little, it's hard for a human to notice them and make eye contact when they see just a top knot and a voice below them squeaking out requesting an ale. Paz and Tasselhoff were sipping ales from Denon tankers and stood on a bench while drunken patrons just ignored them nonchalant, having a very amicable conversation. Paz and Taz had just finished discussing the time that Pez wrangled a sea beast and rode it into a Minotaur slavers atoll, when the giant behemoth sent a tsunami crashing into their atoll and sank it like a flagon going into dirty dishwater. The subject then drifted to a local enchanter who somehow disappeared a few days ago and had been accused of being a peeping Tom. So they're sitting there exchanging war stories, him and Pez. Pez told him a story about where the time he rolled a sea beast, he rode the big son of a bitch right into a slavers atoll. And what had happened, Pez, he got captured by a dragon high lord. The dragon strapped him to a red dragon and tried to haul him off as a prisoner. Okay. About halfway up, Pez got loose. knocks the Dragon High Lord off the fucking dragon and knocks the living shit out of the red dragon. He rides the big son of a bitch unconscious down into a fucking ravine, okay? This big honking ass, mean ass red dragon. He knocked the fucking rider off and knocked the dragon out. Rides it down into a fucking ravine. The dragon crashes into a fucking tree. And I mean, it kills the fucking red dragon stone fucking dead, okay? It killed the rider, it killed the dragon, okay? He knocked his ass off. Pez survived and knocked his bridge out. It knocked his front teeth out. And he had to get a bridge made to chew. So the gnomes at Mount Nevermind, they made him a bridge, okay? They make him a little grill, okay, a bridge to chew with, okay? He's kind of like Goldie or Tricky, but, you know, that's his little trademark, Pez. There's another funny part where he gets his hand stuck and the bad guy's getting away, and he tells Taz, "Get him, Taz, get him!" And he takes and he spits his bit into Taz's hand with his hoopak. Taz takes the hoopak and slingshot and takes it, smacks the guy, knocks the guy's stone ass out with the damn bit. And then Pez gets his bit, wipes it off, sticks it back in his mouth. Funny as shit. It'll be great as a comic book. It'll fucking be hilarious. But that's Pez. I got Astrid Damaris, who is Tasselhoff's cousin. Nicely, it's Uncle Trap Springer's daughter. And I got Pez. Those two characters right there. They're going to be in my DragonLance book. Okay? I'm going to write a Tasselhoff book. I sure as shit am. Okay? I've already got it. I've had this son of a bitch since I was 14. Look, if they can do all this bullshit with the good draconians and da-da-da-da-da and piss all over it with their 5e Spark Patrol bullshit, I can do the original second edition canon. I can take first edition. I can take the stuff that we've used at our gaming tables, and I can do a fucking DragonLance book. Okay? I can do something that's worthy of the DragonLance name. I think I can do it. Okay? Maybe I can do it. I don't know. Now, will Margaret Rice or Tracy Hickman approve of it? I don't know. Might not be everybody's cup of tea. There's over 200 DragonLance books written, guys. And I mean, there's a ton of people that worked on DragonLance. So, there you go. This right here was written by Mary Kirchhoff. Her and Steve Winter wrote Wanderlust. That was the other Tasselhoff book. These are not main DragonLance books, but these sell just as well as the Chronicles do. Okay, the Preludes, these were good fucking books. This logo right here brings a tear to my eye. Oh my God, when I was playing that Ravenloft game the other night, Stride's Possession, that logo comes on screen right there. It brings a tear to my eye. It looks so pristine. It looks like a fine naked woman. I'm telling you now, it's so mean and pristine, and it's so, okay. It's just, I don't know, there's a magic to it. There is a freaking magic to these books, y'all. These were good books. I don't care what anybody says about them, but I mean, these were people that cared about the game. A lot of people don't understand that. I mean, there was the DragonLance books helped keep the lights on for TSR, and that was the legacy of those books. The DragonLance campaign helped prop up a lot of shit that they couldn't sell, but they did anyway. The problem with TSR was that they printed more damn books than they could sell. DragonLance propped up a whole lot of that shit. Okay, all right, where are we at? Let's don't get. Okay, this was the one we read. Okay. Okay, yeah. All right, we'll continue with with Pezza. Pezza needs my tooth to chew, hasn't it? The gnomes, they give me a tooth. They made me one. Shines better than the Scales old Flame Striker herself. Now I was thinking pyrite because it's made out of gold, not flame strike, pyrite. So in game terms, he would say shines better than the scales of old pyrite herself, gold dragon. Yeah, so they made him a gold bridge. As it needs my tooth to chew. Okay? And sometimes he'll take it out and hand it to people. That's his gimmick. Okay? He's got dark skin. Little squat guy. Got short curly hair. Muscles. For a Kender, he's fucking stout. Okay? Little son bitch is almost as he could almost be mistaken for a halfling or a dwarf. He's so large. He's got some weight to him. He's a little bit big for a Kender, but it's because of the fact of where he's from. He's an island Kender. Their environment and all, they're hump bump. I mean, they are very active. They're actually more active than the Ancelonian cousins. Taz reads books and maps. Taz likes to sit back and have a drink and drink a beer. Pez gets it to nitty fucking gritty. Pez will actually go out and hunt for his food. Okay? He'll go out in the middle of the fucking ocean like Luke Skywalker did with that bullshit. Blue milk, whatever. He'll go out and hunt a fucking big ass mean son of a bitch an eel, get it for breakfast, smack it over the fucking head with a harpoon, pull it out of the water, gut the damn thing and stick it on a stick and be sitting there frying it with a piece of coconut and drinking a ale with it on the beach. Okay? He's that type of person. Okay? That's who Pez is. He's rough, tough, and ready to rock and roll. I mean, he's like Bonk. Think of Bonk. Remember the video game character Bonk, Bonk's Adventure? He's like Bonk. But he's got big eyes and ears. He looks like a Kender, but he don't have the top knot. And he's got dark skin. But he's an island Kender. That's Pez. Peasant is what we call him. I'll spell his name out for you. We'll even draw him. On this gaming table today, guys, before we wrap it up, let me take a drink of tea and another hit of silly salad, and we will commence. See, I wrote this shit up. I sure as hell did. Hold on. We got more. We got more. I promised you fuckers a Kender stream. We're going to get it. Kender methodology has been my thing for 25 years. Okay? Holy shit. Okay, here we go. You know those fuckers that like My Little Pony? Okay. Fuckers that like Kender. Bros. Kenders. Cronies. We're cronies, man. I'm a fucking crony. Great. It's my fuck. Look, if that becomes something, it's my fucking fault. I did it. Fuck. Okay, I get a kick in the balls for that shit. If it don't catch on, guys that like Kenders. Cronies. Well, I tell you what, though, okay? Kender ain't no little kid, okay? Kenders don't fuck humans. And humans don't try to fuck Kender either. They can tell a Kender. Most humans on Ancelon look at Kender like you would a Chihuahua. Now, unless you're a real fucking fruitcake freak son of a bitch, you're not going to fuck a Kender, okay? Only a fruitcake would try to screw a Kender, a human. No. No. Kender root with other Kender, okay? They will not, under any circumstances, mate with a human or engage in any kind of sexual activity. At least not a male or a female. Not like it forced. Unless it was something really degrading as a slave or something, and that's horrible. Against their will, because no. Kender's not going to fucking stand for that shit. Kender female will cut your fucking balls off, okay? Both male and female. Little kitty fiddler or pedophile walk into a Kender settlement and try to fuck with one of them, you'd get tied up and left for the owlbear, okay? They'd be dead. Actually, they would be left for the goblins. They would probably get their genitals cut. I'm just saying. Also, Kender tend to look out for human children, a human child, most of the time, even if a child is lost, they've got a pretty good chance of being safe with a Kender. Okay. Because Kender, they are like themselves. So they do look after kids. Okay. In my games, if you had a lost child, 9 times out of 10, they would have a Kender Scout because they do deal with children very well. There aren't really any evil Kender. Now, they're mischievous. Kender do taunt. Okay? Nobody can do a your mama's so fat joke like a fucking Kender. Okay? You know, a Kender can rock off a line like, tell somebody like, a Kender has enough balls. Let me tell you something. A Kender, nobody can do a yo mama joke like a Kender. A Kender has enough balls to walk up to a Minotaur eating a hamburger, munch a hamburger, and say, I ate your sister's ass. Ooh, is that racist? Would that be racist? If a Kender walks up to a Minotaur eating a hamburger and says, I ate your sister's ass. Ooh. Okay. Like I said, to recap, poor old Tanis Half Elven, man. If half races are a problem now with D&D, poor old Tanis is fucked. Shit, man. And he didn't even ask for it. His was the result of a rape. Okay? It supposedly was a human who raped his mother. Okay? His mother died in childbirth because of the, hey, she had to pass a half human kid. Okay? And it's kind of like trying to fit a fucking basketball through a hole the size of a Cheerio. Okay? You know, for some women, that is a presumption, you know, giving birth. You know, and humans and Kender would be the same thing. I mean, even if they attempted it, it would be literally impossible. The woman would most likely die in childbirth. So, no. Now, there would be the possibility of a so-called half Kender becoming a Solamnic Knight in the lore, but my theory on that is the half Kender was actually a human that was raised by Kender and became a Solamnic Knight. Kind of like the story Little Big Man and The Jerk. Those two movies. I had an idea about that, and I thought about making a short story about that. It's about a human who grows up being raised by Kender, who then becomes a Solamnic Knight. And my two inspirations for it would be Steve Martin's The Jerk. Yeah, The Jerk, and Dustin Hoffman's Little Big Man. Little Big Man's a good movie. And Little Big Man, you know, it's about Native Americans. It's about the Cheyenne and the Lakota. Okay. It's a sad movie, but it's very truthful. Little Big Man, it's a comedy, but it's got some sad moments in it. It come out in the 60s, early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. And it is a very good movie if you get a chance to watch it. But Little Big Man, where the Plains Indians, okay, talks about the Plains, the Plainsmen, that movie in itself, it would be such a good idea to base a Tasselhoff novel around, or something about a half Kender. I mean, he could have been a Plainsman. He could have been a Darkness Plainsman. You could do that. I'm not against diversity if you can explain for it for a reason to be there. There's plenty of islands on Kryn that you could give that flavor to. There could be Southwest Kender to where they have dark skin. You know, they could be up on an Aztec, Azteca or Meztica. It was a Forgotten Realms setting. I've got it on PDF. It was set up like the Mayan or Incan culture, but it was in the Dungeons and Dragons setting. You could have something like that similar on Kryn, okay? One of their islands. You could have one like that. You could have one that resembles Karatur, which is on the Forgotten Realms, but it's the Asian setting. Oriental Adventures. If you wanted to take Oriental Adventures and slightly work it toward the Dragonlance setting, or if you wanted to take some of Dark Sun and Spelljammer and work it into Dragonlance, you could do that. That's what I did. Okay? Not so much as Dark Sun. I'm not so much as familiar with that, but there's other stuff that I'm familiar with. Works perfect. Works really good. Yeah. All right. We'll have to eat something in a little bit. My blood sugar's getting a little low. All right, let's continue this. We still got some to go. Okay. Pez resumes talking. Says a crying shame ties me by. That magic man being the last thing he sees after being knocked into the privy. Old Grummond, that's the ugly dwarf. His ugly peppered dwarf ours a setting down to let his squirrel go, and that feller done changed himself to a bee and got sunk in the shitter. Maybe if he'd magicked into a butterfly. The two Kender were discussing this rather candidly as behind them, near the outhouses, a horrified crowd was gathered a few yards down from the privies to avoid the smell. The body of an unfortunate soul was being lifted with a rope around its neck, whilst the workers, retching and vomiting, as another quickly began piling dirt to absorb the refuse left in the wake of digging him out of the hole. One of the patrons in the wee hours of the morning went out to do their business and discovered, to their horror, a human who had inexplicably gotten himself stuck under the outhouse pit. Ooh, the plot gets shitty and it thickens. Okay, so there's the scene. The two Kenders are sitting in a roadside tent tavern in a bar with the tent flap open, and somebody is inexplicably a dead body being dragged out of the outhouse. And they're just sitting here sipping their beers while this is going on. What a way to begin. Now, the Kenders know what's going on. Okay, but they're Kender. Who the hell is going to believe a Kender? Okay. All right. Yeah. One of the patrons in the wee hours of the morning went out to do their business and discovered, to their horror, a human who had inexplicably gotten himself stuck in the outhouse pit. The guards were called, and Taz and Pez had just arrived that morning with the dog and the gully dwarf loaded into a wheel cart. The cart got impounded quickly and probably destroyed as the Kender left it sitting in the middle of the road, stopping only long enough to wring out their wet clothes from an earlier excursion to the marshes. Pez spotted a beer tent, and despite the overpowering smell of shit and barbaric seating options, and remember, the benches, the humans can hardly stand on them because they're rough hewn. They're just split pieces of wood with splinters. The Kender are standing on top of them drinking their beers. So the little Kenders are standing and everybody else is sitting down in this tent. Okay? The Kenders are standing up. So they're standing up on the benches drinking their beers. Okay? Okay? Now, Pez spotted the beer tent, and despite the overpowering smell of shit and barbaric seating options, the two Kender rolled the snoring cocoon dwally dwarf out of the cart and across the grass to wait in the tent. Now you got to remember, Foos, the gully dwarf, is passed out. Okay, he went to sleep in the parachute that they made him, and they just rolled him up in it like a cocoon, and he's snoring, and they've got this bundle in a cart. These two fucking Kender are wet and soggy and muddy and shit, and they got this dog. Okay, they got a dog with them, and they're all covered in fucking marsh mud. Okay, they're just fucking covered in it. Okay, and this dog's all belligerent and running toward them and running ahead of them, but he's with them. And they got this bundle in a cart, and it's snoring and making noise. And these Kender walk up at 6 in the fucking morning in this village. Okay, wondering, and these two Kender walk up with steel. Okay, they walk into a bar, to the tavern, and order ales and start drinking them. Okay, they went out duck hunting. Didn't get a fucking duck. But by God, they's going to go drink in the morning. Okay? All right? They rolled the snoring cocoon gully dwarf out of the cart and across the grass to wait in the tent. The morning late summer humidity increased the smell by tenfold. But Pez told Tasselhoff, "Aye, we drink in the wee morning to the sun coming up, me by." The dog edged past them as if it didn't care, and barked at one of the patrons in recognition, as they had purchased the dog locally, and it seemed to be a common sight around the tent anyway. The bartender didn't seem to mind. Kender, as the most of his patrons that were not already inebriated, had left the tent to gawk outside at the commotion. The Kenders had steel. Whether it was stowed steel is another matter entirely. Oddly enough, there were 2 tankards in at about 10 o'clock in the morning. So they've been sitting here for about an hour drinking while they found this fucking body out in the shitter. And they're just sitting there just drinking and talking and telling stories. Him and Pez and Pez, they're soggy, but they're sitting there telling stories and drinking their ales out of dinner tankards. They're 2 tankards in. So they're sloshed. And Taz is sitting here bouncing on, and he's trying to pet a dog. The dog starts barking at him. So he goes, whoa! Goes back to what he's doing. And Pez telling the story, and Pez is sitting there, and they're just talking and having a good old time. And the drunks are sitting there drunk, all passed out, and looking at these 2 Kender, like, what the fuck are they on? And there's the smell of shit coming. So they've done seen the body being drug out, so they done gone outside the tent, see what the fuck's going on. Okay? So, okay. There are 2 tankards in, and they're standing on rough-hewn benches and working on a third if the smell of shit subsides. If the smell of shit on the morning breeze would subside. No way! Even if Groman was mad at that feller, would he been able to cram a grown man into that shitter past the seat? I guess you or me could fit themselves in there if they had to hide. Although the Kender began chuckling at the odds Gromit had caught the peeper and stuffed him down the loo merely for the visual of the angry dwarf with his breeches around his knees and his big ball swinging and that butt farting and tooting as he angrily drowned them in the privy. Disgusting. Dwarf getting mad and drowning somebody in the privy. Yeah, got mad and drowned somebody. I don't know. But they think maybe that it was a mage went in there with a ring. Somehow somebody got in the shitter. How did he get in the shitter? Okay. Now, and what are they talking about a ring? You'll see. Okay. Paz and Taz nodded as they fancied themselves detectives on the matter to speculate on as to how the enchanter came to an unfortunate end. They had first found the body. Actually, Pez did on his way to the privy himself, but you know how Kender get distracted. He seen a hand sticking out of the muck of the dark hole with a big, nice, shiny ring on it. He reaches down and just gets the ring off. Okay, sticking out of the shitter. And then he comes out, and a lady had asked for it as he come out of the privy, and he trades it for a few steel pieces. After all, the lady said, would this not be the right time for a beer? Paz couldn't quite remember her face. It's all fuzzy. But after she said it, he somehow felt really thirsty. And so it seemed like a fair trade. Hey, you can have the ring, give me the steel. Okay. He just stumbling out of the shitter after coming back from the marsh. Okay. Gives him the ring, give me that ring. Okay. So the Kenders speculated, but no clue as to how the method, other than he had possibly died while polymorphed as a wasp. Now remember, he said that Gromman had gotten stung by a bee, and he said he smacked it while he was in the outhouse. So maybe he smacked the mage while he was polymorphed as a wasp and killed whoever it is that they're digging out of that privy. He was polymorphed in the bee and took the ring. Now who's got the ring? Who knows? Okay, that's part of the mystery. Ain't figured that one out yet. Okay. At least that's what the Kenders overheard from an angry constable who said, find it! He's not got it on him. The other guards laughed as they weren't too quick to go digging in shit to acquire further. Here comes Groman. You'd have to have a magic ring for that, Tasselhoff added. Now, see, the Kenders are sitting here discussing this nonchalantly. They know what happened, but they're not admitting it to anybody else, okay? They're just sitting there thinking, man, you really have to have a ring. Now, we borrowed Gromman's hatchet yesterday, and there was an enchanter, and he had a ring, but you got a ring. You found it. It was sticking up out of the privy, and then you paid a lady some steel for it. And they're just sitting here talking about this nonchalantly, being Kender, as usual. Being Kender, they're so blissfully self-unaware, okay? Kender are very autistic, okay? High functionings and autistics are almost exactly the same. We have the same fucking thought patterns, procedure. We think of things the same. Yes, Kender, autistics, very good, very good. Yes, okay. You got my vote on that as well. Yeah, Kender are kind of high functioning autistics. They certainly are. Okay. All right. All right. Now, you'd have to have a magic ring for that, Tasselhoff added. I definitely have experience with those. The Kender looked back behind him away from the tent and outhouses toward a field with a cottage and an old windmill. An old windmill. In the distance, a dilapidated stone keep loomed over the whole thing rather glumly. Interesting enough to a Kender, though. He stayed at one of them cottages over there, Pez added, talking about the guy that they dug up out of the shitter. You seen him when we come in 2 days ago. We pitched our tent and borrowed his hatchet for some firewood and kindling. It was either Grauman's or the enchanter's hatchet, one of the two. Okay. Paz shook his head. He met his end to swirling down the shitter, probably where his ring is at too, if he had one. Now, Paz just mentioned that he gave the ring away, but he's like, I gave the ring away. But see, he was tricked into giving that ring away. So that lady used an enchantment on him. She suckered his ass. Now that's obvious. Okay. She used a spell on him and he handed that ring right over to her. Okay. All right. It seemed, however, oblivious to everyone else. Only the Kenders were right to speculate on the truth. They already knew what happened, but who's going to listen to a Kender? Especially two who choose to get drunk instead of sleeping at this hour of the morning. Two soggy Kenders, a soggy, irritated mutt, and a sleeping gully dwarf are expected to solve a bizarre death. That's my tagline for the story. Two soggy Kenders, a soggy, irritated mutt, and a sleepy gully dwarf are expected to solve a bizarre death. Did he make the mistake of taking the ring off while hiding in the privy? Tasselhoff took another swallow of ale, as Paz did the same, and burped loudly. A late summer breeze hit the tent, only amplifying the smell of shit mixed with alcohol and wood smoke. One drunk at another table, who was brave enough to sit down on the rough-hewn benches, cut a fart. It was only when he reached down to scratch his behind that a stray splinter reprimanded him for his rudeness. I didn't get a chance to ask Grauman since we've been back, Tasselhoff shrugged. I remember asking him about the bee stinging him as we come into town. He looked at me funny and told me that my parents were the reason siblings shouldn't. Roman told him, said, "You're the reason why your parents shouldn't fuck. Your siblings shouldn't fuck." That's probably what he told him. Okay. But Tasselhoff, the way he says, I remember asking him about the bee stinging him. Hey, Rob, did you get stung by a bee? Your parents are the reason why siblings shouldn't fuck. Shut up, Kender. That's probably what he told him. Okay. I remember asking him about the bee stinging him after he came into town. He looked at me funny and told me that my parents were the reason siblings shouldn't. At that moment, the temp flap came back, followed by the overpowering smell of shit. Hey, Grauman, good morning. We were just talking about. Tasselhoff exclaimed excitedly. He was cut short by the overpowering sensation of being lifted off his feet as an extremely ugly, angry dwarf, covered head to toe in what must have been related to the disgusting predicament in the first place. So this fucking big ass, ugly, mean constable of a dwarf walks in, covered in dirt and shit, grabs the Kender up off the bench, lifts him up, and gets up in his face. Big and mean, covered, and Paz grins stupidly. The dwarf narrows his eyes. Hey, Grobs, what you covered in shit? Paz grinned stupidly. The dwarf narrowed his eyes and, hissing like a snake, escaped his lips with a surly growl. The smell of shit started to intensify, and Taz looked to see what he perceived as fumes coming off the dwarf's forehead, smeared with shit and grime, as he angrily started to simmer and wickedly leered at the two Kender. He angrily swatted Pez's flagon of ale out of his hand, sending it flying. Despite the Kender's taunts, he was rude and insisted he would be paying for another one if he acted like that. Okay. Then Paz speaks up. Yeah, we seen a ring, maybe, but she give us a steal if could use that privy, and I couldn't deny a lady that right, you know. She was bigger than me. She could pick one of us up and lift us and fit us down that privy hole. Right, Taz? Paz nodded at Tasselhoff. Just like you told me about your lady friend, Kitty Yara, you don't deny a lady a chance to use the privy in privacy. That's just rude, eh, Bob? She could fit you down that privy hole, stuff you right down that privy hole. That's just rude. Huh? Huh? Paz shrugged innocently, as if it meant nothing. Ah, we'll fit you down that damn privy hole. Where did you two little shits stash that ring you found on that hedge wizard? The dwarf began to vibrate angrily as the tent began to fill up with the constable and his men. I stashed it up me butt, Pez taunted, obviously offended that the dwarf wasn't going to buy him another ale. Mayhap ye do like the dwarf do and look up me bunghole and see if you find me lost diaper as well. Take a lamp, as it's dark and smelly, just like that privy you just went wallowing around in. It's improved your scent, sweet Gromman, like a bouquet of flowers you smell you do. Tasselhoff rolled his eyes and sighed all the way up to his top knot. He straightened his dirty, but certainly cleaner than the dwarf's, jerkin and finished his ale. Pez, did you give that lady that ring? The ring they're looking for? Nope, Pez grinned. I stashed it up me butt. Heard once a fiend had the idea to make a planer key by tooting a fart, and he stashed his stuff away in another demiplane. Nobody's ever found it. Planer key? The dwarf looked confused. What the hell is a planer key? God damn it, you little shit, what are you yammering about? You damn kid, where the hell is that ring? Yeah, Tasselhoff brightly said. What's a planer key, Paz? Right here. He taps Fooge, then Fooge wakes up and looks at Pez. Hey, what? Dwarf make noise, stink, what? Oh, looks at Pez. Pez looks at the dwarf, and they immediately cut a fart. All of a sudden, this portal opens up. Boom! Like in Planescape, right? Right in the middle of the damn tent. Pez jumps in it. The gully dwarf jumps in it. Taz falls in it. The son of a bitch shuts. That's the beginning of my story. A planer key. Now, you know, planer keys work by tooting a fart. Okay? You ever seen a planer key work by, you can hum a tune, you can whistle, you can kiss somebody, you can spit on the ground, you can blink your eye, you can stick a finger up somebody's butt, you can do a bunch of things, okay, to operate a portal or a planar portal in Planescape. In this case, Pez just activated a planar portal by farting. It's great. He's got a fiend that he's going to meet up with. It's going to be great. But that's the start of my module and my story. It's going to be absolutely fucking terrific. In my story, Tasselhoff, Uncle Trapspringer, comes back from the moon. Okay? He made it back from New Atari after they got bagged up there with the magic ring. They made it back and crashed a spelljamming ship into Kender Common. It basically made Trapspringer a local celebrity. And so they coasted on that celebrity for 15 years. When Taz visits, okay, he actually meets Uncle Trapspringer, and Uncle Trapspringer has a mansion that has been built up around this crashed Spelljammer ship. They turned it into a museum because basically people are living in it now. Okay, Uncle Trapspringer came back as a hero from the moon. There's just one problem: he trails white moon dust wherever he goes for some reason. It's really funny. Him and his wife. She was pregnant when they came back, and so they came pregnant. They came back, and Astrid Damaris grew up on Krynn. She grew up in Kender, and it's after she came back from the moon. Let me pull this up again on my Twitter. This is actually on my Twitter. You can look it up under Ended Josiah. This is my, well, I don't think you can see it. I don't know if you can cover it up. I don't think you can see it at all. No, you can't. Well, anyway, look up Engine Josiah. It's 18 and up on Twitter. I do a ton. It's at Josiah Engine _Engine. You can find me on Twitter. It's 18 and up. But I got about 186 followers now, and I got a bunch of DragonLance content on there. Okay? All right. Let me see here. Let me find that. Okay. There we go. Let me see if I can pull up the picture on the tweet. I don't know if you can see this or not. You might be able to see this if I put it in an angle. So, there we go. See, I'm looking at my computer screen and trying to angle it to where you can see it. It's actually the picture that I've got on the front. I can also pull it up here in just a minute. But that's the picture that I'm using. I don't know if you can see it. You can't see it from here. Doesn't matter. I'll point it to you here in a minute. But anyway, Astrid Damaris is his cousin. And here's what I wrote. DM's note. Since humans in Northern Urgoth I picture as having German or Austrian accents, I thought to give Damaris a German-sounding accent, slightly like the lady off of Green Acres, Zsa Zsa Gabor, attributed to their region. Taz's family, when they went south to study the Plainsmen, they lost their accents. She hasn't, so she's got a slight accent. She does. Pez has got his own accent, but Pez and Astrid both have their own accents. Okay. All right. Let's see here. But you can look this up. It's a whole damn idea that I put on here. I can't really move this around. I can't get this thing to. I'm trying to get it to have a look-see, and I have to angle it, and I can't get it to see it. It won't. The contrast is too high. It's not going to show it. But if you could see it on my Twitter feed, I don't think you're going to be able to. But that's just the startings of it. Okay. Let's take a little bit of a break here. And where are we at here? We're on 209. We're going to go to 230. I'm going to do a real quick AD&D segment. We'll pull out the dice. I make out a special treat every single time, guys. So we've gotten used to it, and I try to pull it out every time. Okay? All right. Matter of fact, I'll discuss stats here. I'll tell you the idea here I got here. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, while we're having a break, because I'm going to reload my bong, we'll just use this as our break time. Okay? All right, let's pull this over here. Shit. Whoops. That thing's a little tipsy. Gotta be careful, Tamara's a little tipsy. Hold on just a second. Yeah, that's an opening for one of my stories. I'm still working on it, okay? I don't know if I made any sense, but all right. Let's pull this up here. All right, Dragons in Despair. We got Kender Possessions. Yeah, here we go. Okay, all right. Well, fuck, you can see it from here. See, if I set this a certain pace, See, I judge this by how well I can read it on my computer screen. If I can read it from my computer screen, you might be able to read it from your YouTube. Okay, I'm trying. I don't know how well it's working, but at least you know where I'm at. This is in New Tales as well, or Mists of Kryn, excuse me. I'm sorry. It was Mists of Kryn is what this is from. Mists of Kryn. I've laminated this. That's why it's so shiny. I love the artwork. That blueness right there. I don't know. There's something about it. I associate colors with smells. That reminds me of that. I don't know, that candy I used to get when I was a kid. It really does. It's got that. I don't know. It's got a really. It's a magic look to it. It's a really good painting. It would make a really good print on my wall. If I ever get another of those prints. I don't know. I've been buying a lot of Elmore's, and I like Elmore stuff. Elmore is my favorite artist out of all of them. I like Easley, and I got an Easley. Yes, I know. Jeff Easley's very much alive. I'm sorry that I accidentally told you all that Jeff Easley was dead. He's not dead. It was Keith Parkinson, I believe, that passed away. Keith Parkinson's the one who did the EverQuest. Jeff Easley did the Dungeons and Dragons handbook, the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide. Dragons of Flame behind me, Easley, right there. Okay. Elmore did the saga right beside me. He did the other DragonLance ones. This is, I want to say this is, fuck is this? Cover by graphic design. Larry Elmore. Yeah, no, box cover sculpture, box cover art is Larry Elmore. Box cover, well, no, one of them's an Elmore, one of them's an Easley. Shit. I'm trying to remember if this is the Elmore or the Easley. I look for the damn, feel like a dumbass because I can't recognize it. And sometimes you will. You'll mistake an Elmore for an Easley. Like this one. See, in the credits, it's got it credited as the box cover art is Larry Elmore and box cover sculpture is credited as booklet cover art is Jeff Easley. So this is the booklet. Booklet interior art, DM screen art, Carol Heyer. Carol Heyer did do the DM screen. I told you for the box set. She sure as shit did. Credits. You see that? That's the credits for the World Book of Ancelon. All right, let's see here. Let's go over the weapons. Okay, females carry what's called a whippick. Okay, the whippick is it's a whip bow. It's a thin wad of ironwood that holds a short length of loop catgut on its end. They can throw it like an atlatl. Kenders use just about anything they can think of, and it has multiple uses. Their weapons and stuff can be used for playing instruments or climbing as a ladder, striking as with a staff. You can saw with it, you can build with it. All their stuff has multiple uses. The hoop act can come unscrewed. Taz, he can actually unscrew the top of his hoop act to carry maps in it. He can do stuff like that. It can be whirled in the air. Other Kenders have their hoop packs that are magically augmented. They can store magical items in them. Use them as weapons. If you'll notice this right here, look at this. That thing's got a hidden blade that comes out right there. It's a staff. Okay, they've got tons of weapons, bows, axes, hand axes. That's all kinds of shit that they use. Using stuff with bolas. So trust me, Kender's got all kinds of shit. Hell, the hoop pack itself does 1d6 damage. And that's on a small target. It does 1d4 plus 2 on a large target. Yep. Okay. There's Astrid Damaris. Oh. Astrid. That's what I named her. But I've thought of the character a long time since I was about 14. I've thought of those characters, the stuff that was working around in my head for years and years and years. But there you go, guys. Okay. Kender are cool little creatures. They certainly are. I'm trying to get this thing to focus. But I love Kender. Okay. I always have. They're neat little buggers. I mean, you got the halflings, which are the hairy feet. I don't know. Well, let me see if I can find my Kender materials. And here in just a second, we'll do a little roll up, see what we can do here. I'll do the character roll for, well, we'll discuss it here, okay? If you want to roll up a Kender, you can roll one up, but I'll discuss the stats with you here real quick, okay? I don't know if we want to roll up a Kender, but I'm gonna pull out a Kender's stats and read them off to you. Another Kender besides Taz is what I'm gonna do. Okay, here we go. This is who I would base Pez's stats on. This particular Kender is a little tougher than Tasselhoff is listed as. Kron Thistlenot. He was the one in the books that supposedly killed Toeed. Yeah, Kron Thistlenot, supposedly, he's a 4th level Kender fighter. And yeah, he was responsible for the death of Viewmaster Toeed. He killed his goblin ass. Viewmaster Toeed got fried by a damn dragon. But as his stats there, he's a little tougher. The highest the strength stat can go on Kender is 16. Taz has a strength of 13. Pez would have a strength of about 16. So his strength would be a little higher. Intelligence-wise, I thought of Damaris. I thought of reversing Damaris's hair color as blonde right there and just using her picture for that. Or using the picture of the Kender standing there that I just showed you, the blonde, okay? And bump her intelligence up a little bit higher to as high as a Kender can possibly go for her intelligence and possibly her charisma. Okay, I would raise her charisma and intelligence scores as opposed to Taz's. Taz's charisma isn't very high, nor is his intelligence score. It's not very high at all. Kron Thistlenot, however, his intelligence is 10. Okay, his intelligence is 10 a little bit higher. He's a leader at Kender, so it's still a little bit higher than Taz's. Okay, so everything. This Kender is actually a battle hardened Kender. Taz is just, he's a traveler. He's like a bar. He's a thief. He's a thief. This is a fighter. This is a Kender thief, Kender fighter. Okay, that's the difference. Kron is a Kender fighter. Tasselhoff is a Kender thief or handler. They don't like the term thief. They like the term handler. Now, all Kenders are handlers, but not all Kenders handle. Does that make sense? According to that World Book of Ancelon. Okay. Some of them are tankers. They mess with electronics and stuff. In the Dragonlance world, that would be instruments. Okay. Say a gnome builds a war machine. A Kender would be crazy enough to pilot it. Okay. A gnome builds a flying machine. A Kender flies it. Okay. Somehow the two work together and it succeeds. All right. It's the crazy little thing about gnomes and Kender. That's how they managed to get that time travel device to work. There you go. Gnome and Kender ingenuity. But they don't marry, okay? They do not marry. Okay, guys, I'm trying to figure out how to wrap this up here. I thought of rolling some Kender characters, but I did explain the stats. We're hitting hitting the damn near 2 hour and 30-minute mark, and I'm going over. I don't want to put these streams over 3 hours because then you get it's mixed up and I lose track of time. And plus I'm disabled. I have to take a little bit of a break. I gotta take a break, eat, get me something to eat, that little thing. But I'm doing the show and tell, and I promised you a Kender stream. I've talked about Kender for goddamn 2 hours and 20 minutes. Holy shit, you'd probably be sick of me talking about them. We talk about Kender all the time, and I will continue to talk about them. Like I said, guys, All you DragonLance fans out there, get out there, make your content. Okay? You got 30 years worth of stuff. Okay? I don't give two flying shits on whether wotc has a problem with half elves. Okay? Tanis Half Elven will always be the dude. Okay? Sturm is his Walter. Or Raceland is his Walter. I don't know. Maybe Cameron is what. Maybe, I don't know. Raceland would be what. He's got the attitude of Walter, that's for sure. Shut the fuck up, Donnie. This is the Society of Creative Anachronism. It's an SCA primer from the early 90s, late 80s. This thing's kind of cool because, and I'll do a second stream on this one because I've been asked about this one on Instagram. This shows everything from calligraphy to armor making. Yeah, they show you how to make armor. Yeah, this is put out by the SCA. Society of Creative Anachronisms. Samurai armor, padded armor for the samurai. Armor manual by Ivar the Far Traveled. SCA, Society of Creative Anachronisms. Okay, they've been out for a long, long time. D&D players. Okay, this come out in the 80s. Okay, I got this from a library. It's called the Pleasure Book. Innocuous title. You can get it Ravenscroft Press. It's under the SCA, Society of Creative Anachronism. SCA is what it's under. Look them up. You can probably find this in PDF form. I'm pretty sure they've got it somewhere. Okay, but that's where it came from. It was put out by the Society of Creative Anachronism. It's not an official SBA publication, but that's who it was put out by. It was put out members of Raymond's Quiet Press. Damn, 1987 is when it was published. So some of the stuff that was published since then. So it's as old as D&D. Lady Simonetta Ambrosini. Yeah, they did their own artwork. Yeah. This was a group out of Phoenix, Arizona, looks like. I bet you my hat coat and ass that Robbie could probably look these people up. She'd know who they were. I don't know if she does any of this, but Hebraic tradition. Yeah, this is a really good read when the power goes out. Yep, Fields of Honor. Now, is that not cool? That is pretty damn cool, ain't it? We'll have a stream while I go through that. If you guys want a stream of this, let me know in the comments, okay? And we'll do a review of it. But I need you all to let me know what you want me to look up. I got DragonLance PDFs I can print out, and we'll sit here and review it. We'll sit here. I'll tilt the camera so you can read it, and we'll go through the fucking thing, okay? Give me something to interact with. I'm not monetized, okay? I do this purely for hobby and enjoyment, okay? Thank all of you guys for watching. Thank all of you fans, the DragonLance fans, the community, the D&D community. And yes, even the people that play 5th Age. Guys, 5th Age is not all, or not 5th Age, but 5th edition. I'm sorry, you 5th Age people. I don't want to trash on you, okay? It doesn't really matter, okay? If you like DragonLance, even just the slightly tiniest bit, we can find some common ground. You just have to remember that there's many different ways that this DragonLance story has been told, okay, over the decades. Many people have walked the paths of Kryn. And like I said, it's all about your imagination in your mind. It always was. DragonLance was a group effort. It was all about, yeah, DragonLance to its core was about diversity. Okay, Theros Ironfeld. All right, he was black, got his arm cut off. He helped forge the Dragonlances. There's a lot more to Kryn than the melanin in your skin. You remember that, okay? There's a lot more to Kryn than just the melanin of our skin, okay? Dragonlance is for everybody. And whether it be, you know, first edition, second edition, fifth age, even the new people with the Shadows of the Dragon Queen people, even the botched phantasm that is D&D's version of Dragonlance, guys, I implore you, you got 30 years of Dragonlance content out there. You got Adam's channel, the Dragonlance Saga channel. You got Gold Moon, tons of these people. If I miss you in a shout out, you got the Dungeon Delver. You got Max from Legion of Myth. Tons of people, old school people that love the original setting, that love D&D, that love Dragonlance, that love tabletop role playing. They love the art form. Learn from these people. Get different perspectives, okay? I'll tell you right now, I am not the smartest guy in the fucking room, okay? And the only time that I ever got something right was because I probably screwed it up the first time. But if I got it right and it didn't kill me, what didn't kill me made me stronger. I kept doing it till I get it right. Just like learning AD&D second edition, okay? I poured over that shit for years and years and years, decades. I didn't understand none of it. And then one day, it all clicked. So, there you go, guys. It's one of those things, it's universal. You will find people all over the world that love Dragonlance. Make you content. Who cares about what wotc is putting out? I'm pretty sure that there's people out there, every single one of you out there, that could make a Dragonlance movie or some sort of Dragonlance related content that would blow anything that wotc has out of the water, could ever cope to create. So like I said, guys, you fan community out there, 10 hut, little Kender. Let's get it, okay? This is your time to shine. Let's go. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, they wrote those stories over 40 years ago. Let's keep that legacy going. Let's keep rolling. Play the games, read the books, read the comics. Make you new stories, tell you new stories. I'm Engine Joe. Thank you guys for watching. This is coming from somebody who has been pretty much a Tanis fan from the inception, from the beginning, since I was 12 years old. This little guy right here. This little man right here. Taz is one cool dude. He certainly is. Watch him shake his little ass. Watch him do a little dance. He's a Burford through and through. He's a hero of the Lance. Y'all be good. This is Engine Joe. We'll catch you later. Check out my Twitch. We're going to get back on Ravenloft later. All right, guys. Be good.